Joy News Prime.
This is Joy News Prime here on Joy News on Multi TV. This bulletin is available right around the world on the internet at myjoyonline.com as well as on ABN television, which is available in homes across Europe. In this edition, Ghana Bar Association clarifies its suit seeking declarations on the appointment of justices, explaining it is not seeking a notification of recent elevations to the Supreme Court. Veterinary officers at Obuasi called 736 birds in latest attempt to contain the spread of bird flu in the country, even as MPs demand compensation for affected poultry farmers. Ghana Tourism Authority orders closure of site at Bunso in the eastern region after collapse of canopy walkway leaves more than 20 visitors with critical injuries. Staff of Council for Scientific and Industrial Research pulled down billboard mounted on their land earmarked for settlement of displaced residents of Old Fodama. And Finance Minister justifies price liberalization of petroleum products leading to 15% increment on July 1. We have more business, sports and international news all coming up in the next 60 minutes. To stay tuned. Veterinary officers at Obuasi in the Ashanti region will be strictly monitoring a poultry farm where 736 birds were culled over suspicion of bird flu. Some 400 of the birds were culled between June 11 and 13 when the officers detected the virus. The monitoring will continue for the next 6 months until they have completely ruled out the existence of the virus. The farm has been cordoned off and movement to the area restricted. Meanwhile, dealers in live birds in Obuasi are complaining of low sales due to the stigma from bird flu reportage. Now, the latest culling of birds at Obuasi takes the number destroyed so far into the thousands after several poultry farms in Accra, Bong and the Volta region were closed down in May in an attempt to contain the outbreak. This has left some of the poultry farmers almost bankrupt. Such farmers, some members of parliament say, must necessarily be compensated.
And we all know the contribution of the poultry industry to the development of this country. I therefore wish to recommend that the Ministry of Finance should, as a matter of priority and urgency, release enough funds to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to enable the Directorate of Veterinary Services of the Ministry bring the outbreak under control.
We are not, as a country, in a position. We are not prepared to fight this outbreak. It is up to us as members of Parliament, and especially the Agri Committee, to drum it home to the authorities, especially the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. And if they are financially handicapped, they should make special appeal to the Ministry of Finance, because this is an urgent situation that we find ourselves. If you don't mobilize resources to tackle this bird flu epidemic that is staring us in the face, the consequences will be dire for this country.
Of the ministry cannot really attend to it because there's no budget line for it. And that is most disturbing, especially when it came to the fore that the disease was hibernating. So even if there is no provision for it, we have now established a contingency fund. And there should be some money sitting in the contingency fund.
The Speaker of Parliament, Dodo Ajahu, has since referred the matter to the Food and Agriculture Committee to look into it.
What I intend doing is to refer this statement and the comments thereon to our Committee on Food and Agriculture to look into the matter of the outbreak and steps that are being taken by the ministry to deal with this matter and any challenges that they face in dealing with this matter in terms of finances and all those things, and report to the House within a week. I so direct.
In a related development, Deputy Food and Agriculture Minister in charge of Livestock, Dr. Ghana.Video, says the ministry is short on materials needed to test and control the bird flu outbreak. According to her, the Agriculture Ministry swiftly moved in to quarantine affected farms in 3 regions. However, the ministry needs funds to undertake further surveillance. Dr. Ghana has been explaining to Parliament her ministry's efforts to control the virus.
We need to also protect our officers who have to go on the field, to work. As we speak, the reagents that we have in our labs, we had it from 2007, and currently we've run out of reagents, to do any further tests on the birds that we may be receiving from the various farms. We are ready as a ministry to move to the field. The surveillance is still on, but to go further and do further inspection and surveillance needs also some amount of funds. My minister has written to the Ministry of Finance for them to also release funds for us to sort this emergency situation. I've taken into consideration that the bird flu, first of all, causes a lot of economic losses to every country.
The Deputy Minister also expressed fear that the outbreak may worsen if some poultry farmers fail to report their ailing birds to the authorities.
We are suspecting is that some farmers may be reluctant to come forward with their birds to report cases, of sudden death and, sudden, strange behaviors in their birds because of the fear that these birds will be destroyed. And even though we've spoken about compensation, they are not too sure what is happening. And so if we are not careful, we may be thinking it's not growing, but by the time we realize it may engulf us like wildfire.
It was the night that put Darwinism to the test, the survival of the fittest. June 3, 2015 will forever be etched in the memory of residents and passers-by of the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, specifically near the Goil filling station. Lives were lost, property destroyed, and many injured in a twin disaster of flood and fire. A month on, we return to the scene and find out how people are picking up the pieces. And Odame has more in the following report.
On the evening of Wednesday, June 3, 2015, Ghana had one of her most disastrous moments being recorded because this place I stand, the Goil filling station, exploded. There was flood and fire and a lot of casualties were reported. Over 100 people lost their lives in that incident. We can see Ernest Safo, who was 59 years old, Kojo Adai, a driver, a popular one here we are told, Helen Danso, who worked in this filling station, was 22 years. We also see Philip Opon, who was 53 years, and then Emmanuel Kweku, who was just 27 years. They are not the only casualties. Some parents lost their children. Some couples lost their partners. Businesses were shut down. A lot of people lost their belongings to the flood. She's saying that she's lost all her customers because when they come around and they see the empty place, they think that she's locked, she stopped working.
Please, I sell oil, palm oil, and other things.
Approximately how much did you lose with all the things that got flooded?
At least about 50 million.
You lost 5,000 Ghana cedis.
Yes.
So how did you pick up? How did you get these things to sell back?
I don't have money, so I went for those who gave us the goods. I went and played, and she gave me some.
Businesses were shut down, and the Vienna City, which is directly opposite the Goil filling station, was no exception. That I have with me the senior supervisor, Ebenezer Mponsa. How has business been after that?
Oh, they are not coming gradually. For the past 8 days, they are coming gradually. But the Ramadan also affecting us badly.
I'm in the home of 66-year-old John Cotti. He owns the 16-bedroom story building that we are currently in. Unfortunately for him, he lost 13 of these bedrooms to the fire. How are you going to rebuild it for the tenants to come back?
We are expecting Goil because the fire came from the Goy. And I know it's that Goy is a government-owned oil company. So I'm expecting that they will come around. And me, I'm not after money. I want the place to be put back the way it was before the fire and the water spoiled them. So, but
have you had any consultation with them with regards to your concern?
No. So how do I do the contact?
Probably through any of your children.
I think 3 days ago, I thought I heard some people came here. They said they were from Goa. They should come up to see me. They said they will come back again. They will come back again, and off they went.
They survived, but they have stories to tell, wounds to heal, and memories they will live with. Some want government's intervention. For others, just a return to normal life would do.
In a related development, Sahara Energy has donated food items, relief supplies, and an undisclosed amount of money to victims of the June 3 flood and fire disaster. Country manager of Sahara Energy, Tosing Etomi, said the donation was in response to Joy FM's relief initiative for victims of the twin disasters.
I mean, one of our major ethos has always been to impact society in any country where we find ourselves, and by virtue of the fact that we have been stakeholders and we continue to be stakeholders in the Ghanaian economy, we felt moved to, contribute and, support our brothers and sisters during this difficult time. We're donating a few items which, includes, but it's not limited to rice, foodstuff generally, soap, oil, the little things that go a long way that, sometimes you take for granted, but they form part and parcel of your everyday life. And that we also contributed some medicines and fluids for those that are in hospital, even as we hope and wish them speedy recovery. And we gave some cash donation, which we feel will go a long way in contributing to speedy recovery by those affected.
Thank you so much.
The governing body for the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research has threatened to resign should government go ahead to give out its land to displaced residents of Old Fadama. The Council's chairman, Ade Inkum, who accepted a petition presented by demonstrating workers at the CSIR head office on Thursday, says the Council will use all legitimate means available to protect its lands.
Workers of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research picketed at their head office at airport here in Accra over a decision by government to send displaced residents of Old Fadama to Pokwase following the demolition of their structures to make way for the dredging of the Koli Lagoon. The workers, however, say settlement of the land will destroy years of painstaking research and are asking that the council put in place all necessary measures to deal with encroachment on their lands.
Workers are aware that several acres of land belonging to the CSIR ARI have been encroached upon. And even though the CSIR have secured a court demolition order, it is becoming difficult to secure protection from the security agencies to execute the demolition exercise. According to documents in our possession, the AMA on the 31st of October 2009 trespassed on CSIR Animal Research Institute at the Pokwase station. The intention was to construct a market to settle traders from Old Fadama in Accra. CSIR proceeded to the court on this matter, and the High Court placed an injunction on AMA and two others from taking part of the CSIR research land at Pokwase. Currently, AMA and the Ghana West Municipal Assembly made an attempt to take over the land belonging to the CSIR at Pokwase Amasama to settle displaced Sodom and Gomorrah residents. Yes. We vehemently oppose this decision.
They then presented a petition to the CSIR Council, whose chairman assured they will resist any attempt by government to take over their lands.
We don't play games, and nobody will play games with us. So be assured that nobody will take us for a ride. So please, we will take this and we'll talk, we'll discuss it, decide on something, and whatever we'll do, take it that is good. Nobody will undermine us in any way. We'll discuss things, and I'm telling you, nobody, if I say nobody will take us for a ride, it's true.
Yes.
If not, all of us will quit before they do anything to us.
Well, it did not end there. Some workers continued to the CSIR land at Kokwase, which has been proposed as a new home for the displaced residents, and pulled down a billboard erected by the Ghana West Assembly for a bus terminal.
It's a sign of a lot more things to come. We want to send a message out to all the people who have the intention of forcefully taking over our lands, that whatever they do, if they erect billboards 10 times, you mobilize 10 times and pull them down. And along with that, we are mobilizing and taking all the legal actions that will support this cause.
Your leader said you should hold on with any action for now.
Oh, yes. If people tell you they are negotiating, and so hold on, we expect all parties to comply. But you don't ask me to keep quiet, fold my arms. So whilst you are negotiating with our leaders, you are coming and hiding under the cover of darkness to come and raise structures like that. We want everybody to understand, yes, once we mean negotiation, yes, everybody should stay back and wait until there's a decision.
The workers have meanwhile vowed to use all legitimate means to resist encroachers. Matilda Pumaga, for Joy News, Accra.
We're taking a break here on Joy News Prime. We'll be back with more stories. Please don't go away. The Ghana Tourism Authority has ordered the immediate closure of the Bonso Abretum tourist site following the sudden collapse of a canopy walkway in the facility on Wednesday. The closure of the facility is to pave way for investigations to be conducted into an accident that almost caused the death of 20 visitors. Public Relations Officer of the authority, Ben Ohene Ayes, said the facility will be open to the public again as soon as investigations into the case are concluded.
The accident happened on Republic Day during a visit by some revelers to the only canopy walkway in the eastern region. The walkway, however, caved in under the weight of the visitors, injuring about 20 of them in the process. The Eastern Regional Minister and some officials of the Ghana Tourist Authority today went to inspect the facility to assess what must have gone wrong. Speaking to the press after the tour, Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Ben Ohene Ayes, said his outfit had ordered managers of the facility to cease operations till investigations into the accident are over.
We are saying that there was a bit of a security lapse because the incident happened after 6 p.m. when they were supposed to be closing. But some people sneaked in. It shows that security was not at its best. And if you look at the extent of damage and to the facility and the supporting trees that were supposed to hold the facility are all not too strong to continue operating the facility for now. So now we are asking them to cease operations until we are satisfied with what they've put in place to rectify all the weaknesses in the walkway.
He also said the managers had failed to provide full security detail for visitors to the facilities. Meanwhile, Joy News' checks revealed the Ghana Tourism Authority and the Ministry of Tourism were informed about the possible collapse of the Bonso Canopy Walkway 5 months before Wednesday's accident. General Manager of Travel and Tour Company, Land Tours, Mauli Jabu, told Joy News he drew the attention of the relevant authorities to conditions at Bonso as far back as March.
Just from a distance, you can see that it didn't look like structurally sound canopy. If you compare that to Kakum was really well done. There are structures, there are beams that hold the canopy together. All those is missing in the Bonso Arboretum. So when we came back, we wrote an email to the director of the Ghana Tourism Authority. We copied the Minister of Tourism and also copied the board chair of the Ghana Tourism Authority. This is on March 16th. But we have not received anything response.
All right, we're now joined on the telephone line now by Haruna Wumpini. He's one of two correspondents in the region who's been following the story all day. Good evening to you, Haruna. Now, what's the situation of the victims who are in hospital following this accident? Hello, Haruna Wumpini, if you can hear.
Hello.
Yes, I'd like you to tell me what's the situation or the state of the victims of this accident who are currently in hospital?
I can currently tell you on authority that when we visited the 3 hospitals, that is Tafu Government Hospital, then Koforidua Hospital, and then Ayom Memorial Hospital, the 3 hospitals that we visited where the victims are there, we interacted with the doctors in charge, and the victims are doing well. They are responding to treatment. The only thing that was emergency is the Koforidua one, because the person was brought to Tafu Government Hospital. They decided to look at the situation, and he was transferred to Koforidua Government Hospital. And we came there with the regional minister together with the entourage. And when we pay a visit, the victim too is doing well. I think there is no problem. We've not recorded any death. Only the victims are doing well. They are responding to treatment.
All right. Now, how many victims in all are we looking at?
Yeah, the victims were 21, and some have been treated and discharged. And currently, as I speak to you, we have only 6 left.
Okay, we have the understanding that it involves JHS school leavers. Is that what you also have?
Yes, it's true. There were students, very young students. Students were part of it. You know, sometimes when holidays like this, students normally go there to just have fun.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, Haruna Wumpany, and he was joining us from the Eastern region where this accident happened at Bunso. In other news, about 400 stores at the Royal Market in Kumasi have been allocated to traders who were displaced or are being relocated from the Kejetia terminal.
According to the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, the shop owners at Kejetia will be relocated when the allocation process is completed. Most of the shop owners earlier complained of losing contact with their customers as a result of the Assembly's move to reconstruct the bus terminal. But the Assembly is allaying their fears.
As you can see, all the shops are in good condition. We have a 36-seater public toilet here. We have urinal, bathrooms as well, and then the place is very spacious, and then the market is also progressing, as you can see. I think the Kejetia people can relocate any moment, and we are always, they are always welcome here.
A 36-seater water-closet toilet facility and bath have also been completed at the new facility. Mahmoud Muhammad Nuruddin's report from Kumasi.
The MPP flag bearer Nana Akufo-Addo has facilitated the transportation of some displaced residents of Old Fadama. According to the evicted residents, they had been tagged as supporters of the opposition party and had been left out of government repatriation exercise. They therefore pitched camp at the MPP's national headquarters, where they hoped to receive some assistance for their journey.
I was called that they had been here since yesterday after the order that they should move from Sodom and Gomorrah. Apparently, the government was supposed to relocate them and send some of them back to their homes. A lot of them are from Diari, Tolong, Savulugu, and other parts of the northern region, including Tamale. But it seems there was some form of discrimination from what I'm being told. Others were taken based on their political affiliations, and those who don't seem to have political affiliations or feel that they are connected to the MPP then came here last night because they have nowhere to sleep. They slept here overnight. They have not looked at their things here. We need to immediately address the problem. And I'll use this your platform to tell people of Nadmu that we are all Ghanaians. And so they should please go and locate and identify all of them. The same thing happened with the flood. When we went to Adabraka around the Goel area, a lot of people had not been identified. It's important that when there's a problem, you identify all the people involved, because they are all Ghanaians, and give them a registration number so that you have a database of all of them. then you know that I have 200 or have 2 people who have been affected by the flood or the fire or by the displacement of people in terms of the Sodom and Gomorrah. This is not the first time, and it will not be the last. So we must do things properly in this country. We can't keep doing things haphazardly. We must know that if indigents of the north are in Sodom and Gomorrah, how many are there? And if we are sending them back, how many of them are we sending back? So that we know that this is the total number. Ghanaians need to know that, and that we are taking all these people back. So we need so many number of vehicles. But when you don't do the identification and the registration properly, this is what will happen. Some will fall out of the net.
So how many people in total are you transporting?
53 people. 53 people have been registered here. That's the last number, 53. They've been here since yesterday, and we have to address their needs immediately. This is our office. Today is a working day. You cannot have them here loitering around. It's very sad. It reminds me of when Ghanaians were in Nigeria, and then they said Ghana must go home. So you are in Ghana and you must go home. Where is home? Where is home for these people? Some are pregnant, some have babies. You can interview them. It's a very unfortunate situation, and I am a mother of 4. This can happen to any of my children.
So when are they leaving?
We are waiting for the bus. I'm going to be here until the bus comes.
All right.
Finance Minister Tekwe has defended the automatic adjustment regime currently being applied to the prices of petroleum products. Addressing a business forum jointly organized by Graphic Business and Fidelity Bank, he explained the initiative, contrary to claims that it's an imposition by the International Monetary Fund, is a homegrown policy intended to help government save some money for development projects.
The latest manifestation of the automatic adjustment regime is a 15% increase in fuel prices, which came into effect on July 1. It comes 2 weeks after a 4% increase, which the oil marketing companies say is mainly the effect of the continued depreciation of the cedi. They explain they are having to mobilize more cedis to pay for their products they supply to the market. Hence, they need to sell at prices that will compensate for the foreign exchange losses. Finance Minister Seth Tekpe says government has had to allow this to happen as the cost of its interventions have become increasingly unbearable.
I think there are a lot of people here who would recall, the days when we regulated everything from soap, to milk, to everything Isanko in this country. I think there are a lot of people who would recall that era. I don't think the economy collapsed with the removal of many of those things. I think what we have to do, as many countries do in the case of deregulation, is to increase bus capacity, for strategic stocks.
Financial analyst Sidney Casely Hayford, however, says government is being insensitive, insisting it can find a way.
Government should really be recovering from its position of cash deficits, but I can't see it, and I don't understand where the money is being applied and what it is being used for at this time, because we don't have major infrastructure work going on. We don't have any major payments that are being made. There are threats from various organizations that they are backlogged and they have not been paid their salaries. And there are people are at least at this point trying to say that government is really not giving them what it's supposed to give them in terms of its due. So there's something wrong. I don't think it's right.
Now we have a reaction to the fuel price hikes coming up in business. Stay tuned.
Hello there, time now for some business reports. My name is Abigail Adomako-Inchi. Let's start off with the IMF and the recent favorable review of Ghana's economy by the International Monetary Fund. IMF is being challenged by a financial analyst and key commentator on the economy. A visiting team from the fund on Monday stated that Ghana is on track with its program with the fund and could look forward to the release of the next tranche of support by August. Sidney Casely Hayford, however, tells Joy Business the economic indicators do not support the IMF claim.
You cannot be on track when your fuel prices are going up nearly every week or every 2 weeks. It doesn't make any sense. You cannot be on track when inflation is going up. You cannot be on track when all your macroeconomic indicators are tracking negatively in the wrong direction. There is no way anybody can tell me that the revenue that we are collecting is up to scratch and this is what we expected to collect at this time of the year. So I disagree. I don't think we are on track.
He says the review will not in any way boost investor confidence considering the country's debt to GDP ratio, energy situation among others, and the inability of government to pay its foreign debts.
I do. I think investors are very, very tired of where Ghana is going. And one of the reasons why the cedi is depreciating the way it is because people are taking money out of the system. People are converting cedis into dollars and they are parking their dollars outside of the country. They're not even leaving the dollars here to allow for certain amount of trade with dollars in the system. The last 2 bond issues we did were not fully subscribed as they usually were, even though the interest rates were very, very attractive. And there is a lot of that going to happen. Because
he adds that the IMF has classified Ghana as a country at high risk of debt distress, and this spells doom for the country's economic growth as public debt increases close to 70% of the nation's GDP.
The Association of Ghana Industries has described as insensitive the 15% increase in fuel prices on July 1. Speaking to Joy Business, AGI Chief Executive Chuma Kwabo says the current economic conditions coupled with a challenging business environment makes it difficult to accept any increase in petroleum products.
Especially at this point in time that we realize that a number of businesses actually depend on generator operation, to run their businesses. So what we are saying is that we are making it a lot more expensive, to be able to operate our generators. Now, secondly, let us also understand that there are some key taxes, that do not go to help business. It doesn't make us competitive. And let us know that we are not an island. We need to compete in the sub-region, on the continent, and globally. So the more we make doing business in the country expensive, the less we become competitive outside there, especially when we are attracting markets outside. The economy must be export-driven. We cannot really be able to achieve that much if costs of doing business in the country keep on rising. And again, when we do not appear competitive, in export markets. So these are key things that AGI calls on government, to address.
And that'll be all for business. My name is Abigail Adomakunchi.
The Ghana Bar Association has clarified its court suit seeking declarations about the appointment of justices of the Supreme Court and Court of Appeal. The GBA, together with its president Nene Amegache, National Secretary Justin Amenuvo and Frank Beecham, the immediate past president of the association, filed a writ last Tuesday asking for 4 reliefs, which many have interpreted as seeking the nullification of the appointment of Justices Yao Apao and Gabriel Puamang. Spokesperson for the bar, Tony Forson, told Joy FM's top story Thursday. The decision by the National Council of the Bar was to seek clarification on a provision in the Constitution bordering on the appointment of judges to the Superior Court. He dismissed as ignorant suggestions that it is to get the appointment of Justices Yao Apao and Gabriel Puamang nullified.
We are not quibbling with the current appointment. We are asking for a declaration by the Supreme Court that any appointment going forward which does not conform to on the advice of as declared by the Supreme Court will be null and void. For now, the interpretation of on the advice of in the jurisprudence of Ghana has not been done. Therefore, if an Attorney General in his wisdom advises the President that look, this is what on the advice of means in the Constitution within the context of Article 88, the Attorney General will be on solid ground without the direction of the Supreme Court, which has been mandated by the Constitution to do these interpretations. Therefore, if we are wrong in our understanding of the Constitution, of course the Supreme Court will tell us.
Up next, we're bringing you sports with George Addo Jr. He's back.
Well, let's do some sports now, and the Ghana League Clubs Association has promised to reach an amicable agreement with Nigerian Premier League club Enugu Rangers over unpaid monies totaling $30,000. Rangers have threatened to place a court injunction on any President's Cup tournament organized by GALCA until their $30,000 owed them for featuring in the tournament 2 years ago is settled. Albert Comey is an executive member of GALCA and tells Joy Sports they will pay up.
No, we also brought it to fore before the ministry because they are aware. All the letters and then the documentation that they asked us to do with regards to that, they've given us their words, and they want us to sit down and look at how possible best we can really solve that problem. I would not like to say much. I would like us to meet them and then see if they will honor their side of the bargain.
Let's talk some more about club football. And Premier League giants Hearts of Okaboy to win more silverware this season after next in the 2015 President's Cup. The Phobians handed arch rivals Asante Kotoko a 5-4 defeat and penalties. They hand coach Herbert Addo his first silverware since taking over the reins. Hearts are still in contention for the league and FA Cup titles, and board member Frank Nelson tells Joy Sports they will fight for both.
You've just won the President's Cup, and how is the feeling like now?
Well, at the end of the day, it's a trophy, and it's the President's Cup. I think we're all happy. I'm just hoping that this will translate into more trophies into the Secretariat of Accra. So we played, and at the end of the day, the game was decided on penalties. But I believe that our players are equally happy, our supporters are happy. Yes, somebody will say this is not the league trophy, but at the end of the day, it's an open door for us because once a trophy comes into the Secretariat, it means more trophies will come into the Secretariat. So we're all happy in Accra, so folk. I mean, it's something on behalf of the nation, the Republic Day, for us to win a trophy. I think it's something we should be able to say we are happy with.
Well, we rarely do this, but time to touch your emotions a bit. And do emotional sports wounds heal at all with the passage of time? Well, we have all been disappointed as fans one way or another when our teams or favorite players fail to deliver. Do you know, today marks exactly 5 years when the Black Stars lost out to Uruguay at the FIFA World Cup in Durban, South Africa, courtesy the magic hand of God by Luis Suarez and a critical penalty missed by Jan. Well, I guess both really would have angered you, but the big question is, with all that happened, after 5 years, have you as a Ghanaian forgiven either Samoa Jan or Luis Suarez? That's the very big question out there, and you have to check some of these answers.
Broke our hearts, but yet we are forgiving him, but we cannot forget about him. Wherever we see, even if he's dead, we still remember what he did to us 5 years ago. Oh, as for Samoa Jan, he's doing well. He's not coming down. He's really improving. So whatever it is, no, we are wishing him well for him to go on and do the right thing.
No any Ghanaian who can forgive Suarez because that happened. It happened and it affected Ghana, and some people die in Ghana because of that happened. Suarez used his hand, but the fault was from the referee. They should have even take it goal, but they say penalty. That was the distance. So I can never forgive Suarez. As Samoa Jan, we can forgive him. He's our man. Why can't we forgive him? But Suarez, we can never forgive him.
So have you forgiven Suarez?
Yeah, I've forgiven him because any player can do the same effort that Suarez did. So if any player can do the same, why not should I forgive Suarez? As Samoa Jan too, it's not like it's effort to spoil the penalty, but the effort has come, so you have to accept it.
Without Video Sports tonight, I'm George Adder Jr. July will join us with tomorrow. Have a good night.
The 6th edition of the JFM Beauty and Bridal Fair opened today in grand style at the Accra International Conference Center. Now, this is what you'll be missing if you don't head there in the next 3 days.
You tell all the boys no.
makes you feel good, yeah. I know you're out of my league, but that you tell all the boys no. Makes you feel good, yeah. I know you're out of my league, but that won't scare me away, oh.
It's my utmost pleasure to welcome you to the Joy FM Beauty and Bridal Fair. This year has undoubtedly been a challenging one for the country as a whole, for our people, and most importantly, for our industries. The rampant power outages termed doomsday and its impact on business resulted in reactions from industry, politicians, musicians, students, actors, investors, and the clergy. The beauty and bridal industry has not been excluded from the doomsday. We at Joy FM hope that the organization of this year's fair will go a long way in reducing the stress, time, and fuel spent running around Accra in search for the perfect deal or ideal products for that special day. There are exciting promotions with mouth-watering prices, great deals from loads of vendors, and lots of conversations, debates, and arguments with your friends and fiancés, insightful advice, and funny anecdotes from all seminar speakers, plus finding your perfect dress. Welcome to the Joy FM Beauty and Bridal Fair 2015. Thank you.
I'm here at the opening of the Joy FM Beauty and Bridal Fair, the 2015 edition. Over 60 exhibitors all in one place here at the Accra International Conference Center, and it's going to be 3 days of this. This is the place where you see variety, really, if you're planning on getting married or you simply just want to see what's available on the market. This is the place to be. I'll take you around to see what is on exhibition today.
Right, so if you want to see everything, you have to be there just to see it. Well, President John Mahama is scheduled to embark on a historic tour of the Nsawam prison as part of efforts to highlight conditions there and improve them. The President announced this at the launch of the Ghana Prison Service Efiase or Prisons project. In a wild caution to colleague politician, however, he asked his ministers to take an interest in ensuring that the prisons are fairly habitable, as they, especially as politicians, could end up there sometime in the future. And that's it for the bulletin. Before we go, a quick run through our top stories. The Ghana Bar Association has clarified its suit seeking declarations on the appointment of justices, explaining it is not seeking a nullification of recent elevations to the Supreme Court. Veterinary officers at Obuasi have called 736 birds in the latest attempt to contain the spread of bird flu in the country, even as MPs demand compensation for affected poultry farmers. And the Ghana Tourism Authority has ordered the closure of the sites at Bunto in the eastern region after the collapse of the canopy walkway left more than 20 visitors with critical injuries. That's it for the bulletin. My name is Richard.
This is Joy News Prime.